A robot at a hot pot restaurant in California started dancing last week. That was the plan. It was programmed to entertain the customers, and then it started smashing plates, knocking chopsticks off the table, swinging at the food. 3 employees grabbed it and tried to drag it out of the restaurant. It kept dancing. They could not find the off button. Meanwhile, man, this is real. People in Los Angeles are now strapping cameras to their bodies and getting paid to do household chores so that robots can learn how to act like humans. They put on wrist cameras and head mounts, and they chop vegetables and fold laundry, and the footage gets fed into AI models so the machines can learn how we move. So let me get this straight. The robots are learning to be us, and they're doing it badly. And we are filming ourselves being us, and we are doing it for money. That is the whole situation right now. Everybody's performing. Nobody can find the off button, and the ones who stop pretending are the ones getting dragged out of the restaurant. I'm Mark Roach. Tonight I'm talking about what happens when the veil comes off everything at once, and why that might be the best thing that ever happened to you. Operation Epic Fury. 4 weeks in, 290 Americans wounded. The Secretary of Defense went on camera and said, "No quarter, no mercy for our enemies." No quarter. That's a specific phrase. It means you do not accept surrender. It means you execute combatants who lay down their arms. It's a violation of the Hague Convention. It's a violation of the 1966 War Crimes Act. It's a violation of the Pentagon's own law of war manual. The Pentagon's lawyers know this. The Nuremberg prosecutors knew this. Pete Hegseth said it on television, and then he went to lunch. I spent 30 years in the oil business. You want to know how we named wells? We named them after the investors, after their wives, after their dogs. I mean, you name a well after a man's golden retriever, and that man feels like the well is family. Well, I've seen wells named after high school football coaches because the operator thought it would make the deal feel local and trustworthy. Like you were not handing your money over to a wildcatter in Midland, like you were backing Coach Thompson's retirement fund. That was the grift inside the naming. It was never about geology. It was about making the money person feel personal, and about putting a name on the thing that made you feel like it belonged, or you belonged to it. And it worked so many times. Operation Epic Fury is the same trick at national scale. The name of war, you name a war something that sounds like a superhero franchise, and it stops feeling like a thing where families get phone calls at 4 in the morning. The name does not describe the operation. The name is a product. The war is the supply chain. But here's what has changed. When I named a well after an investor's dog, that investor did not have 3 million pages of documentation available on a government website explaining how the sausage got made. He just had the name. He had Coach Thompson. He had a feeling. Pete Hegseth said no quarter on camera. A legal scholar from the Pentagon's own general counsel office said publicly that the statement constitutes a war crime. And you can read that analysis on your phone right now while you're sitting in traffic. We are no longer a country that is hiding things. We're in a country that stopped bothering to hide them. That is new. That's what I want to talk about and what that means, because it does not only mean what you think it means. 3 million pages, 2,000 videos, 180,000 images. That's what the Department of Justice released in January. The Epstein files, the largest forced disclosure of criminal evidence involving powerful people in American history. Names on the flight logs cross-referenced with deposition testimony, a 60-count federal indictment that was quashed in the mid-2000s, and nobody's explained why. A 5-year DEA investigation into Epstein and 14 other individuals that the public never knew existed. NDAs designed to silence victims, financial transfers flagged by nobody, and redaction failures so sloppy that blacked out names could be revealed by copying and pasting the PDF into a text editor. The system that protected these people for decades was not invisible, it was just expensive. Now the filing cabinet's open and the lock is on the floor and we're all standing in the room looking at it. And here's what I find interesting, not the names. Everybody wants the names. What I find interesting is that the system could not hold. The filing cabinet broke because one brave person kicked it in because technology made secrecy more expensive than disclosure. The math changed. This is happening everywhere. It's not just Epstein. Last month, a journalist named Daniel Boguslaw, I didn't make that up, Daniel Boguslaw published the full 2023 membership list of the Bohemian Grove, 2,200 names, leaked by a member he pestered until the member gave in. Bohemian Grove. If you do not know, it is a private retreat in Northern California. Men only. Surprise? 135 years old. They do a ritual called the cremation of care, which is exactly what it sounds like, and also somehow worse. The leaked list reads like a board meeting for the country. Bloomberg, Kissinger, Clarence Thomas, Koch, Paul Pelosi, Clint Eastwood, Eric Schmidt, Ken Burns, Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien is at the Bohemian Grove doing the cremation care ritual with Clarence Thomas. I need a minute on that. The point is not that these men are evil. Some of them might be, but that's not my business tonight. The point is that a 135-year-old secret society with unlimited resources could not keep a list of names from a journalist with a Substack and some persistence. The veil is off. The technology that was supposed to protect the powerful turned out to be the thing that exposed them. Every filing cabinet, every flight log, every membership roster, every kiss cam at a Coldplay concert, the infrastructure of secrecy has been outpaced by the infrastructure of transparency. And most people do not know what to do with that yet.
Smoke was swallowed by the void behind your name. I clawed my way through broken glass.
So Jim Carrey showed up at the César Awards in Paris last month. Gave a speech in French. Accepted an honorary award. And then a drag artist claimed online that he had worn prosthetics and delivered the whole thing as a Carrey impersonation. Well, Carrey's people said it was him. The internet said not him. Jim Carrey, 40 years of playing people who could not stop performing, shows up as himself, and the world files a report that says that's a mask. We are so deep inside performance that when a real person shows up, we cannot recognize them. We would rather believe in the prosthetics. And in Buenos Aires right now, thousands of teenagers are putting on animal masks and gathering in parks on all fours. Wolves, foxes, deer. And they call themselves Therians. 2 million posts on TikTok. The psychologists said, it is fine, as long as it does not become all-consuming. Brother, the all-consuming thing is not the wolf mask. These kids looked at the whole deal. Perform a self, get ranked, get priced, get benchmarked against a global inventory of other selves, and they said, I would rather be a wolf in a park with a pack. So Jim Carrey takes his mask off and nobody believes him. These kids put on a mask and for the first time they feel real. That's the same story from two ends. It's the same question. What happens when the performance is over and you're just standing there?
Burn the bridge while standing on it. Watch the flames crawl up my arms.
A war crime announced on television. 3 million pages dumped online. A secret society's roster leaked by a man with a Substack. A robot smashing plates because nobody could find the off switch. A man who showed up as himself and got declared a fake. Kids who would rather be animals than participate in the feed. The veil is off, every veil. The political one, the institutional one, the sexual one, the financial one, the taboos that ran for decades beneath the radar in churches and boardrooms and locker rooms and Senate offices. These are on camera now. Not because we got braver, but because the technology made hiding more expensive than showing. And here is where I want to go tonight, not into the darkness of it, but into the question underneath the darkness. What do we do now?
Undone. You are my trust.
George Carlin sat in a chair on stage for 40 years and pointed at the things we all agreed not to see. The okey doke, the rigged game, the quiet handshake between power and compliance. And he pointed and pointed and pointed, and it was brilliant, and it was necessary, and it was not enough. Carlin saw everything, named everything, and by the end, he was angry, genuinely angry. And he'd been pointing for so long that pointing became the thing. The diagnosis became the identity. He died seeing clearly, and I believe he died bitter. That is the cost of being the one in the room who sees and cannot stop seeing. Well, his chair has been empty for 17 years. And I want to be honest about something. I do not want to sit in that chair the way that he sat in it. I love the man. I learned from the man, but the chair, the way that he used it, it was a prosecution. And prosecution, no matter how accurate, does not get you home. What I'm interested in, what this show is trying to be, is what comes after the pointing. The veil is off. Epstein's filing cabinet is open. The Groves list is on Substack, and the defense secretary is describing war crimes on camera like he's reading a lunch order. The Manosphere influencers are selling counterfeit Brando to abandon young men while running OnlyFans agencies out of the back door. The priests moved into politics. The athletes get paid to do repetitive things while we watch. The algorithm knows your weaknesses better than your mother does. None of this is hidden anymore. So now what? Well, I watched a documentary this week. Louis Theroux, Inside the Manosphere. Men with enormous followings who found young men, genuinely wounded young men, whose fathers disappeared, whose churches lied to them, whose economy told them they were surplus inventory and sold them a story, the Matrix. The villain, the rank the subscription. They get dressed up as Brando. The great refusal, top G, Sigma male, the wolf who walks alone. But Brando actually refused. Brando refused and then went quiet. He bought an island and got heavy, and he read books and disappeared into his own silence. Brando's refusal cost him everything visible, and he paid it. Without a merch store, these men refuse nothing. They comply with the algorithm absolutely and post on schedule. They sell courses on how to sell courses. They call OnlyFans disgusting on camera while running OnlyFans management companies off camera. They are the most obedient men on the internet, performing disobedience on a content calendar. That is not the refusal. That is the franchise. This is the same grift as the well name. You name the well after Coach Thompson and the investor feels like family. You call the program Alpha Male University and the lonely kid in Ohio feels like he found his fraternity. It is the same move. Make the money feel personal, put a name on the things so the person giving you their loyalty believes they are getting loyalty back. And Maddie, living in his car in Miami, whose brother died by suicide, who found these videos and felt for the first time like someone understood. Maddie is not a fool. Maddie is looking for what every human being is looking for. He wants to feel whole. He wants to feel sufficient. He wants to stop performing and just be in his life without the phone in his pocket telling him his life is losing. The Manosphere did not give him that. It gave him an enemy list and a subscription. But here's what I want to say to Maddie and to anyone watching who's felt like the veil coming off is just another reason to be afraid. The veil coming off is not a catastrophe. The veil coming off is an invitation. For the first time in human history, you can see the machine, all of it. The flight logs, the Grove roster, the algorithm that feeds you outrage to keep you scrolling, the influencer who sells you rebellion while obeying every rule the platform sets, the defense secretary describing war crimes on daytime television. You can see it. Your grandparents could not. Your parents suspected it, but you can see it. And the question is not how to fight it. Carlin fought it for 40 years and died in that chair. Protest is a step. Transparency is a step. They're necessary steps, but the step after that, the one that nobody's talking about, is where you stop looking at the machine and look at yourself. Not in a buy my course way, but in a way a man who's finally seen the whole game sits down and asks, what am I without the game? What is here in this body, in this room, on this ordinary afternoon that is not a performance, not a subscription, not a reaction to the feed? E.F. Schumacher wrote a book in 1973, Small is Beautiful, Economics as if People Mattered. The argument was plain. Past a certain scale, every system stops serving people inside it and starts serving itself. The factory is no longer for the worker, the church is no longer for the congregation, the platform is no longer for the user. Past that threshold, your loyalty becomes fuel. What we have now is Schumacher's warning at planetary scale. A young man in Ohio is loyal to an influencer in Dubai who's loyal to an algorithm in San Francisco that's loyal to a quarterly revenue target. The loyalty travels up. The benefit does not travel back. It is the same structure as oil. I spent 30 years watching it work. The barrel of crude sitting in a tank in Cushing, Oklahoma gets priced by traders in London and Singapore who never touch it. The roughneck who pulled it out of the ground is irrelevant to the number on the screen. I sat in rooms where that price moved. The barrel was never in the room. But somebody's golden retriever was on the well name, and that made it feel like home. We did that to belonging. We did that to masculinity. We did that to desire. We took things that only work locally in a body, in a room, on a specific Tuesday with a specific person, and we ran them through a global exchange. And now people are carrying around a body that says, this is my tribe, this is my place, and a phone that says your tribe is losing and your loyalty is transferable to a higher performing fund. I was asked to join a fraternity once. Paddle room, handshake, phone list, Texas oil money. 1980s, the good old boy network was not a metaphor. It was a calendar. Tuesday at the club, Thursday at the dinner, Sunday at the golf course, where the permits actually got approved. I said no. Someone filed a report, and the report said I had an adjustment issue. What that meant, the actual translation was, the machine noticed I was not running its program. It issued a notification. User non-compliant. Software update required. And here's what I've learned in the 40 years since that report. The adjustment they wanted was never therapeutic. It was commercial. They needed me in the network because the network only works if nobody leaves. The fraternity, the factory, the parish, the fan base, the content platform, the algorithm, they all run on the same fuel. People who believe that leaving the line is more dangerous than staying in it. But the veil is off the line now. You can see where it goes, you can see who it feeds, and you can see that Coach Thompson was never in the well, and the golden retriever does not know your name, and the fraternity dinner is for the fraternity, not for you. That's not bad news. That it actually is the first honest moment most of us have never. It's actually the first honest moment most of us have ever had with the systems we live inside. I can barely say it. The honest moments, even when they are ugly, even when Epstein's name is on the page, even when the defense secretary is describing war crimes with a straight-faced, honest moments are where the wholeness starts. Not wholeness like a greeting card, wholeness like, I can see the absurdity and I'm still here. I can see the game and I'm not destroyed by saying it. I can hold the comedy and horror in the same hand and not go numb and not go blind. Carlin sat in the chair and prosecuted, and it was necessary. Someone had to point. But what this show is trying to be, and what I'm trying to build in this room, is the next chair, the one where you sit down after you've seen everything, and you do not need the seeing to make you bitter. Where the transparency is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of a different one. I do not have the whole map. I'm not going to pretend I do. But I know this much. The kids in Buenos Aires are putting on wolf masks and went to the park with a pack. The robot in the restaurant kept dancing after they dragged it off the floor. Jim Carrey showed up as himself, and the world could not process it. I think the actual move, not the protest, not the outrage, not the course, is closer to what the kids did than what the influencers are selling. You find your pack. You get honest about which mask is yours and which was the one issued you. And then you do the scariest thing available to a human being in 2026. You take it off. And you see who is still there in the park with you. I'm Mark Roach. This is Headroom Tonight. Thanks for watching.
There's nothing left to feel anymore. No rage, no grief, no sound. Just a hollow shell of what we were. Burned down to the ground. I'm not hurting. know.